Hey guys, welcome into the first episode of Weekend Rewind. We're going to kick it off with Roger Shultz. We're going to recap week 0 of the 2025 college football season, and we will also reveal our 12-team playoff brackets. And then I'm going to go hang out with my guy Stephen Root as we will be breaking down and previewing the AFC side of the NFL, and we will be revealing who we think will be winning the AFC championship. And we go through and we break down every single team in the AFC. So you're not going to want to miss it. Like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. Thanks for hanging with us. All right, welcome into the college football half of Weekend Rewind. I'm Nick Wiggins, and I'm joined by Roger Shultz, former Alabama center, runner-up on season 5 of The Biggest Loser. Hey, what's going on with Jillian Michaels? I hear there's some beef there.
Hey, look, I think she's trying to bring receipts, right? That's the big thing today, bring receipts. And I think she's trying to bring some receipts, so we'll see what happens. There's always two sides to every story, right? Or maybe there's a third. We just don't know. But
sure,
it's interesting after that document's come out, kind of how everybody's spun it. So
yeah, for sure. Now, look, we are going to be doing our week 0 recap. Just a few games to cover on this edition. But Roger, you were actually at the FCS kickoff with Mercer taking on UC Davis, but we didn't really get an ending to that game. What happened there?
Well, lightning, and then basically we were in lightning delays for a long time. About 7:49 left in the game when it had lightning delays. You know, Mercer and UC Davis, both ranked teams in FCS football, so it's the FCS class. So it's an important game, right, for both teams to see where they end up at playoff time. So to end it in a no contest is kind of the best. Or we would have been playing at 2 or 3 o'clock, and I don't know. The storm was just hovering, and I was there working, and we just sit there just waiting, and then they named it the no contest. It's interesting though, because I've seen people kind of respond. It's kind of traveled all the way from California to Montgomery, and this is what we get. Nothing. The stats don't count. By the way, if anybody wants an MVP trophy or the game trophy from the game, we're gonna put them out on auction, so they're for sale.
Okay, there you go.
Raise a little money. I mean, trophies are out there if you want them, people. So I'd just say it.
All right.
Yeah.
What's the starting bid for the MVP trophy go for?
Yeah, I think probably about $3,000. So if you want to be the MVP of the FCS 25 kickoff, $3,000, it's yours. So
all right.
And you go say, hey, I was the MVP. There was no contest. Yeah. So
all right. Well, Roger, let's look at some of the FBS games from week 0. Farmageddon, the big one, the longest running consecutive rivalry in all of college football. But it's actually going to come to an end in 2027. So this is the last, we might be getting the last bit of it here. And this is also, Kansas State, they won the Pop-Tart Bowl 2 years ago. Iowa State won the Pop-Tart Bowl last year. So you had all those crazy little Pop-Tart mascots out there on the field. But Iowa State, they end up beating Kansas State 24-21. And man, I'll say this. Like, I get that we're trying to expand the game of American football by going to all these different fields in Brazil, for the NFL, and in Dublin for college football. But why is it? I mean, they need to get their turfs and their fields up to snuff. Ooh. You can't see the lines. People are slipping everywhere. I mean, you would just think if we are going to make it this big special kickoff event, I feel like London, they do a pretty good job for the NFL, but all the other fields, it's like a coin toss.
And the difference between the NFL and the NCAA doing it, the NFL puts the fields in where they play Super Bowls, where they play in Mexico, London, Germany. The NFL has a turf team and a turf people, and it's got. I mean, obviously, it's a huge investment, right? The NFL, these valuable players out there, so they make an investment in that. Obviously, when you watch the game yesterday, Farmageddon, a lot of like I really didn't see a line on the field. I have no idea what was going on, but it was a good game. And really, I mean, I thought Kansas. I was watching the game. I had to leave probably about towards the end of the third quarter because I had to go. I had a job to do with the FCS kickoff. So I eventually had to leave and didn't get to see the end of it. But it really, my thought was, and I liked Kansas State. Like we're going to do our predictions on our playoffs and stuff like that. And I probably would have had. By the way, the sample you sent me had Kansas State in it, and I probably. Not going to rule them out, but obviously with the loss to Iowa State, that kind of knocks them out of the contention for the Big 12. I mean, they're behind the 8 ball, right?
Yeah.
But they looked really good. I thought they were moving. And then, of course, the quarterback's dad, Avery Johnson's dad, gets in some kind of fight.
Yeah.
It looks like it was a player's. The guy had number 2 on his shirt. So
no, did you see? You didn't see who the dad was fighting?
Who was he fighting?
His brother.
Oh, that was his brother?
The quarterback's uncle.
Oh, they were fighting. Oh, really?
Yeah, so they had to put out like an apology saying, hey, we're sorry. This is not, a well representation of us and our family, and we apologize to the school and the student athletes. Yeah, it was a little inter-family brawl.
I thought it was funny. I was like, what the heck? I mean, I thought it was like a receiver's dad, because the guy got up and it had like number 2. I can't remember the quarterback's number, but it was like a number 2. And I'm like, well, it's got to be a receiver. He's mad because, they threw a ball or whatever, intercepted, hung him out to dry, and he got tattooed or whatever. But yeah, it's, family, I like it. First of all, I think I liked it, my family fights. I think that's a good sign. I think I want that kind of characteristic in my quarterback.
Yeah. All right.
But Rocco, he looks like a tough guy. He'll fight. Of course, we all know who his dad is.
He looked great, or he looked really good last year, and then they lose their 2 wide receivers both to the Houston Texans. So I was curious as to how the passing game was going to look, and I don't think the rain really did them any favors over there in Dublin. But I mean, for Kansas State, probably the worst possible way to start your season. You're going to return the punt with your star running back, Edwards, who we're all thinking is going to be leading this team to maybe the playoff, like you were saying earlier. And then you muff the punt. You get injured as well, so we don't even see you the rest of the game. Just horrific. But, I mean, I don't know. That was just – it looked like preseason football. Like, we're still trying to figure out how to play, because they couldn't even take advantage of – didn't they get the ball at, like, the 15-yard line off that muff punt, and then they fumbled it and gave the ball right back.
Well, then sloppy conditions, right back to what we talked about with the field, and wet, terrible balls were flying off of receivers' hands. Quarterbacks were hitting. It was kind of a mess. It's like you said, it's the first game of the season, right? And what's the analogy that we all use? You get better from game 1 to game 2. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was a little sloppy. And then, like I said, we had the FCS kickoff, and it's like, well, it's just a practice game now. It didn't even count. Nothing counts. Well, what are we, the NFL now that we have preseason games? And I'm like, well, probably. I don't know. Yeah, it's so funny, though. It's funny, the negative response to the FCA kickoff is. But what was interesting, so it started raining, and we have those LED lights. And so we played Purple Rain and put the purple lights on. And it was just empty stadium. I don't know. Little stadium humor for just us, the 7 people that were there. So,
yeah, I'm sure you guys got a kick out of that. Yeah. So that game's not going to be replayed, though. That FCS game.
No, it's done. It's a no contest. There's there's no winner, no loser. But I mean, both these teams are ranked, right? I think UC Davis was ranked 9th and Mercer was ranked 11th. So it's 2 ranked teams. So it may have a bearing on kind of the playoff. That's why they had to call it no contest, or whether they weren't just going to say, okay, they're going to win, or because Mercer was coming back in the game. So not to say they would have won it or tied it, but it was work out both of them. They both got a chance to have a glorified scrimmage
at
the end of the day, right? I mean, they'll learn a bunch from it.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll be completely honest with you, Roger. I'm not too tapped into Mercer and UC Davis, who locked in on their rosters, but I am very intrigued and excited to see what UNLV could do this year. When you look at these, we know we're going to have at least one group of 5 team in this 12-team playoff, right? Even though the seeding, they fixed that, you're still going to have that one conference champion, whoever's the highest ranked. And UNLV was another kind of big favorite, popular pick to maybe be that. And you got Dan Mullen out there running the show now. And I thought he was a defensive guy, but UNLV, it didn't look like they could do anything defensively. They still won, winning 38-31 against the Idaho State Bengals. What do you think? What do you think about Dan Mullen over there at UNLV?
Well, I like that Dan Mullen's at UNLV. And Dan Mullen's an offensive guy. That's what he's known for. He developed Dak Prescott, and he's done a good job with all these quarterbacks. And I think Tim Tebow, Dak Prescott. So he is a offensive guy. So you expect their offense to be good, maybe a little lacking on defense, because the coach that was the coach there last year is now the coach at Purdue. I think it's Purdue, right? And I slip in my mind, but he's a defensive coach. Okay. So you come in and, you had the go-go offense last year, and now that coach is at like Sacramento State.
Oh,
So,
I'm getting confused. I'm thinking of Will Muschamp. I don't know
yeah,
why. I'm
that's
getting
all right.
confused with Muschamp. Is
Yeah.
Will Muschamp? Where is he at right now?
I think he's working the drive-through at Zaxby's.
Okay, I think he might be a defensive analyst for
He was.
Georgia.
He
Kirby
was,
Smart?
but I don't
Okay.
think he is anymore.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that was a big question. I think at SEC Media Days, they were like, "Hey, where's Will Muschamp?" You know, he's
That's
like,
right.
he's taking a step back. I
Oh,
guess
yeah.
because his son plays quarterback somewhere. I think he's stepping back to maybe just go watch his son play some ball.
Okay. Yeah. I remember Kirby Smart making the joke saying that he was going to give Nick Saban Muschamp's role. I think that's what the joke was over there in Atlanta. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I think for UNLV, I mean, look, you've played. Like, remember last year when NIU beat Notre Dame? That was like the big wake up moment for Notre Dame. I feel like, is there any way that this could kind of be close to that, but you didn't get the L? You know what I'm saying? Like, you still got the W on your schedule, but you're feeling it as if it was a loss, and you're not happy with it at all.
Well, no, those are the best wins, right? When you play like crap, you play terrible, but you find a way to win and you win the ball game. That's the best feeling in the world, because, hey, are these fixable? Some things aren't fixable if there's a talent difference, but if you know you got the talent and you look at it and the mistakes you made, they're fixable mistakes. That's why I talked about, I mean, the old cliche, you get better from week 1 to week 2. Now they got a game under their belt. Yep. They can kind of fix the problems and see what's going on. So if they're fixable things, that's the best victory ever, is when you lose. I mean, when you win the game and you play like crap, right? I mean, that's a good sign for UNLV.
Yeah. So let's not overreact to week 1. I know that's kind of what we're kind of here to do.
We're stretching a little bit with the UNLV.
Yeah, right. But UNLV
Idaho State Bengals.
Are we still thinking that they are one of the contenders of the group of 5 moving forward?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, I look at the group of 5 contenders, the teams that I look at. I think obviously Boise State, obviously at the top of the list, and not to give anything away, but when we see our rankings, you may understand why I say that. Yeah. Obviously, John Summerall is one of the hottest coaches on everybody's wish list. That's down at Tulane doing a good job. I think Tulane could be a team that I think, let's look at somebody from the Sun Belt. I mean, Sun Belt's a great overall. The Sun Belt's a great conference, top to bottom, real competitive. I think James Madison is a team that could make a charge for that. I'm intrigued to see, believe it or not, what Southern Miss does, because basically it's Marshall of the South. Right. They got the head coach for Marshall, and they brought, I don't know the exact number of players, a bunch of players.
However many it was, it made it where they weren't even able to play their bowl game because they couldn't field a roster. So,
right.
I think Huff brought over at least 30 players.
Yeah, no, at least 30. Yeah, and he didn't bring the bad ones.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he didn't bring the bad ones. He ain't stupid. So Southern Miss is a team that could be intriguing. And then, of course, there's always Troy, Alabama, Appalachian State. And there's a lot of buzz in the Sun Belt world that Georgia Southern might be the team. They say App might be a little down, and Georgia Southern might be the team. So we'll see how the Sun Belt.
I remember I went to the South Alabama Georgia Southern game where South Alabama choked in like the final 5 minutes last year. And Georgia Southern had some big white dude at wide receiver, number 15, 13. And he was doing everything, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's still there, but if so, then I can see how Georgia Southern.
Well, if he's really good, if he was really good, he's probably not still there.
I guess you're probably right. Yeah, that's how
I would just assume
he's works now.
Yeah. He's probably not still there. So
yeah, or maybe he just wasn't that good.
Yeah, because I remember watching Lopez, the quarterback for South, in that game, and he's no longer there. Right. He's with Belichick, so we'll see how that goes. But
yeah, and we'll see if how we're feeling about North Carolina and Bill Belichick if they pop up in our playoff prediction.
Well, what's funny is we're getting ready for the season and the buzz that everybody's talking about the teams that they like. Is Ohio State, obviously Michigan talk because of all the stuff that came out, which is absolutely a nothing burger. I mean, Sherrone Moore wins more games not coaching than he does coaching. I mean, he gets suspended all the time. I don't know, but you haven't heard a lot of talk about North Carolina. You heard a lot in this early part of the summer and the season with his girlfriend, but you never heard much about what's going on with Coach Belichick and the team and how it's going to be. But of course, 2 guys that I'm very familiar with and played at the University of Freddie Kitchens is offensive coordinator. Yeah. Will Friend is his offensive line coach. So there's an Alabama tie to North Carolina. So it'll be interesting. And plus Belichick and Saban are good buddies. I mean, So it's going to be.
Now, I do think that the Belichick North Carolina experiment will work out. I don't know if we're going to get that immediate success in year one. Maybe we're making a bowl game, but I don't know if we're making the playoff or anything like that.
Oh, no. I don't think they're going to make a playoff. It's going to take him time. He's going to figure it out. He's first of all, he's a great coach, right? We know he's a great coach, great X's and O's coach. And now he's going to have to, that's why I hired Lombardi to be the GM and kind of handle all the recruiting and stuff like that. Even on his radio show, like, I'm not going to do the weekly radio show. Lombardi's going to do it. I got to scheme. I got to draw plays.
Sure.
I got to get these guys ready. So,
well, look, one of the other games there on week 0, Kansas, they defeat Fresno State at their newly renovated stadium. They win 31-7. They get back their superstar quarterback. He was fielding a lot of offers to maybe transfer somewhere else, but Jalen Daniels, they keep him. He looks like Jaden Daniels for the Washington Commanders, the way that he was carving up Fresno State. And then you know who Fresno State's quarterback is, right? You know the relation there, don't you?
No.
Fresno State's quarterback, E.J. Warner, son of Kurt Warner.
Who was at Temple.
Yeah.
Transferred over to Fresno State, so that's good. But yeah, in that game, I like Kansas. I like Kansas. I like what they're doing. There's a couple guys I know that are on that staff at Kansas, and Jalen, he's always played well, but he always gets hurt. He gets hurt. He's been hurt the last 2 seasons. So hopefully, if he can stay healthy, but I know he had some personal. I think it was Jordan Palmer or whatever trained him during the off season during the summer to try to work on his delivery. He said there's a lot of things he had to do mechanically to get better as a quarterback for throwing. Obviously, he can run. He's got the legs. And the thing is, too, the offensive coordinator that was there 2 years ago, is the offensive coordinator at Penn State now, who really dialed into using Jalen's assets, his legs and stuff like that. So now that he can throw on top of his running ability, I think that's good for Kansas. Maybe Kansas. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the Big 12 is wide open. Big 12, a competitive from top to bottom. Now, they're not elite. Like the SEC's elite and Big Ten's elite, but top to bottom, man, that's a very competitive league.
Yeah. As I was thinking about, how going through my playoff teams and looking at week 0, I think the Big 12 definitely behind the SEC, but it might be the conference I'm most interested in watching this
every
season.
Week. It's going to be good. The Big 12, because what's interesting about the Big 12, you got, by the way, Arizona State to pick last year or second to last, ended up winning that conference, making the playoffs, got a first round bye. I'm glad that's taken away. Whatever.
Yes.
I'm glad that's taken away. But Arizona State did it. So who knows? I really like BYU in this conference. And then, of course, everybody's going to be looking at Texas Tech because of the investment. The money they literally have one of the best paid rosters in college football. I mean, right up there with the Ohio States and the Alabama, or they got a rock. So it's interesting. So there's kind of two dynamics when we talk about this. When we look at the ACC and Clemson and Dabo, right? So they're predicted to finish strong, win the ACC, get the playoffs, and a lot of people have predicted to be in the championship game. I might be one of them, just saying. But we'll let you know later. But but how Dabo's kind of done it, right? He's, hey, we're going to pay these guys fair and equitable. We're not getting in the port. Just kind of how he's done his model to how Texas Tech. It's like two extremes. So it's going to be interesting to watch how those play out this year, both those teams. I'm interested. I kind of pulling for Clemson more than I am Texas Tech because, I mean, if you just throw money at it and it fixes it, gosh, I hate that but it's tough on everybody because these coaches will now go to the aid. Hey, I need more money. You see I need money. Well, you still got to coach them. You still got to coach them up.
There's so many ways to go. I was talking to Drew Fabianich over there at the Senior Bowl not too long ago. He was the GM at West Virginia and Auburn there for a little bit. And, I asked him, basically look at Texas Tech. Can you just throw money at a situation and resolve it that quickly? And he just straight up said, because of the way that these players move and what, makes them move, he said, yeah, Texas Tech should be really good this year. I mean, they're going to have one of the best rosters. But then you have look at Florida State. They went and tried to fill all their needs out of the portal, and then they go 2-10, right? That's the whole worst case scenario.
Yeah, there has to be a team unity, a buy-in. If you just got guys looking at paychecks and seeing who's getting more and something, because in the end of the day, it divides the like. Remember when Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher paid all that money for that like freshman class that ended up number like the highest rated signing class ever, and they got there and nobody could figure out how they're getting paid. They didn't get paid. Those guys couldn't contribute. It was the locker room. It was a cancer. It was terrible. So there's a fine balance. I think people are trying to figure out what that balance is to where I can get guys in fit, and it looks like Dabo's trying to do that. He's trying to find guys that fit his culture and kind of believe in what he believes in to plug them in and not to change everything. So that's why I'm saying the dynamic between what Clemson's doing, what Texas Tech is doing. And I think everybody else is kind of doing a little hybrid method. And, you heard Jim Nagy, who was a Senior Bowl executive, he's now the GM or whatever he is at Oklahoma, and how I've listened to him talk a lot, and how he is trying to present this balance of that. Hey, if you're a starter, you get this. If if you're a left tackle, it's like,
and that's
kind
what
of
Bill
slotting in the
doing.
NFL. Yeah. It's
Salary
like slotting in the yeah. Well, you got to, right? I mean, at the end of the because there's people that's throwing a lot of money to a quarterback that didn't do anything, and you're like, well, that just creates. I don't know what DJ Ungale got paid or whatever, but that must have been that was like, you paying this guy? What are you? Oh my. That could be why you went 2-10 or whatever.
That would be one of those things that doesn't pass through the clearinghouse moving forward, I would bet, with DJU. I don't know if the services are being rendered from him. I don't know if he's playing quarterback well enough to receive this NIL. But he didn't look too bad in that Chargers preseason game. But I don't know. We'll see what Florida State can do, because now their quarterback, he's talking a lot of smack to Alabama, really hyping up that.
Well, what's interesting about is he went to Central Florida with Malzahn, and then he went to Boston College, and he had a couple good. I mean, I watched him play. He had a couple good games, and now he just loved it. He's all full of himself. So I mean, I do not mind confidence in my quarterback, but I also like reality in my quarterback. So that's kind of we'll know in 6 days, won't we?
That's right. It's coming up quick. That's supposed to be a really rainy game, so we'll see what Bama can do without their starting running back. But
they got running backs. I mean, they got running backs.
They got running backs.
They got running backs. Be okay.
That's right.
That's what we lost a couple of running backs when I was out, and they go, well, I mean, it's like, hey, man, it's not
next man up.
I mean, let's go. It's somebody. Hey, we had Bobby Humphrey got hurt in 1988, and Murray Hill, all little 5'6", 5'7" of himself, made the all SEC team. Just saying.
There you go.
Might have been that line. Just might have been that offensive line.
Might have been the guy snapping the ball. Who knows?
Definitely could have been that guy.
Well, look, there was one more game on week 0. That was Hawaii defeating Stanford 23-20. Frank Reich, he's now the head coach.
Is he cashed it in? Is he really coaching? What's he doing? Just standing on the sideline wearing a shirt?
I don't know.
You question how he coached the game?
They started out going 10. They were up 10-0. I thought, okay, hey, maybe Frank Reich, Andrew Luck, maybe there's something special here. But no, Hawaii and their kicker from Japan. Have you heard the story about that?
Yeah, you learned it on YouTube.
Just learned it on YouTube. And
Nick, you got a chance. Nick,
maybe I think I still have some eligibility, but and apparently he didn't even speak English until 3 years ago.
He went to junior college to learn English. I can tell you, I've been to some of them junior colleges. I don't know what kind of that's some questionable English you're learning.
Yeah. So. Sure. But yeah, Hawaii, they win 23-20, and over there in the Mountain West, right? Are they in the MAC? Are they in the MAC or the Mountain West?
Mountain West.
Mountain West, yeah. That's where it's even like all the potential favorites for these Group of 5 playoff teams are. Boise State's in there, UNLV's in there. And I don't know if I'm not going to put Hawaii in that category based off them just beating Stanford, because I think Stanford might actually just be really bad.
I mean, I think everybody's forgotten that Stanford is in the ACC along with Cal, and those two teams could be very.
Why are they not going to go rejoin the Pac-12 like all these Mountain West teams are doing? Just go back and be a part of it. I'm sure they'll welcome you back with open arms.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
All right, well, yeah. So that was our recap of the week 0 action. But Roger, let's preview and make our predictions on how we think this college football season is going to go, who we think is going to make this 12-team playoff, the newly renovated version of the 12-team playoff where you're not getting those automatic buys if you
That's the best
win
thing
your
ever.
conference.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness that's not going to.
But so I figured let's just go through it, maybe 12-1, and do our reveals, and then we'll kind of go through our bracket and say who we have beating who. Do you want to start, or do you want me to?
I ain't scared.
All right, go for it. Who's your 12 seed?
All right, my 12 seed is Boise State. I think they're the group of 5 team that gets into the playoffs. I don't think there's going to be 2 teams that get in. There could possibly be, but I think Boise State's the class of the group of 5 or whatever, the 6, whatever they're called now. But that group, I think it's going to be Boise State. I got them at 12. I could possibly see them as I did my bracket and I started looking at it as it went through. I ended up having like SEC playing SEC. I mean, it's kind of so, and I think the committee kind of looks at that too, kind of like future matchups, like where things are going when they kind of do that ranking of after the first 4 or 5 or whatever. So obviously the five's the best spot to be in. In my opinion, 5's a pretty good spot. But so I have Boise State.
All right. Then no worries. Now Ashton Genty's gone. He drug him to the playoffs last year. You don't think they're going to miss him?
Yeah, they're going to miss him. Absolutely. But they got guys. They'll fill it in. I mean, I'm not drinking the UNLV juice after yesterday for sure. I mean, I've seen a lot of people pick UNLV, but if I didn't pick Boise, I'd pick Tulane.
Okay.
So Tulane's probably on the outside looking in. So at the end of that, if we play this back at the end of the season, just know that I did say Tulane.
All right.
Pick them, but I said
fair enough. Well, look, for my number 12, I think they're going to win the conference that Tulane resides in, but I'm not picking Tulane.
Memphis.
I'm picking Navy.
What?
Navy. They won 10 games last year, beat Oklahoma in their bowl game. They got blown out by Notre Dame. We were talking about them making the playoff last year there for a little bit. I think they started 6-0.
Yeah.
They're bringing their quarterback back, who had like 17 rushing touchdowns, I think 30 total. They didn't lose any of their coordinators, where Navy had, their best offensive and defensive season in a long time. Both coordinators are still there. They got some star running backs. You're still keeping a lot of offensive line talent. And I feel like right now, I mean, look what Vanderbilt was able to do. I know they only went 6-6, but they gave people fits. They almost even beat Texas, or at least took them down to the wire. I feel like these heavy option style attacks, I don't know. I feel like just nowadays, maybe defenses just aren't that ready for them. And if you can run it efficiently enough, the system might be enough to get you there.
Well, that also gives Army's kind of in that same boat too, right? I mean, they're the same. They had a great season last year, kind of hard to prepare for, tough kids, obviously. The future of our country's on these guys, or whatever. Our future leaders do a great job. So, I mean, and then Memphis is another team that nobody's talking. They tried to buy their way into the Big 12, and they just said no. I mean, which is, can you say no Big 12? I don't know. So Memphis could be a team also that could.
I just feel like I feel like Memphis is a team that we always say is supposed to be good, but they never are.
They kind of fall short.
Yeah, even if the expectations aren't that high, like, hey, maybe they'll win 8 games, they win 6. I don't know. I just couldn't pick Memphis. I thought about them though. I thought about Tulane, and I also ran Boise State through my mind as well. But I figured I'd show Navy. So,
there we go. All right, that's your group of 5, huh?
That's my group of 5, Navy. Yeah. All right. I'll go ahead and reveal my 11, and then we'll bounce it back to you. Yeah. So you're gonna get a kick out of this one, Roger. At 11, I've got LSU, led by Brian Kelly. I got LSU making the 12-team playoff. Look, when the Senior Bowl 300, they put out their list where they basically just show love to the top 300 players in all of college football. The team that had the most players on there was LSU with 14 players. The year before that, it was Ohio State. They obviously went to go win the national championship. The year before that, it was Michigan. They went on to win the national championship. I don't think Brian Kelly's going to win the national championship, but I do think that even despite Brian Kelly's best efforts, I think the roster is so good that they are going to go 9-3, have a good enough win to sneak there into that 11 seed of the playoff. And I just think Nussmeier and all the receiving options that he has, I think he said they all run a 4.4 or faster. So it's just an incredibly quick receiving core. I think maybe you got Landry playing on defense in the right spot. They were trying to move him to coverage from being just like a pure pass rusher. And you got Whit Weeks. I love Whit Weeks. I liked him a lot in that Netflix documentary as well. So I like LSU. I'm going to go with LSU. And I also think if LSU doesn't make the playoff, fire Brian Kelly. Like I think that's where it's at. Like, you can't meet this requirement. Get another guy in there because this roster, you're hurting the roster. You should have made the playoffs with Jaden Daniels, but you picked all the wrong defensive portal guys. You probably should have made the playoffs last year, but you choked to Florida.
Well, think about that. Think they had Jalen Daniels. I mean, he won the Heisman Trophy. You're right. I mean, I'm not a big Brian Kelly fan, and I just think when I see him and I saw him on that Netflix documentary, I was like, dude, it just doesn't feel like those guys are. Nussmeier's kind of bought into him, or Nussmeier plays the game well.
That might just be the agent telling him.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of funny how that kind of worked out. But yeah, when you see Brian Kelly in that thing, I was like, the player. It's just a weird. I think if you gave the player some truth serum on the side, they'd probably tell you, man, they probably think he's an idiot. I get a weird vibe about him, and I don't think that's the kind of guy that can take you to look. He never did it at Notre Dame, had a bunch of talent, right? That's why he left. He left because now I'm going to get a bunch of talent, and he's had tons of talent. Now you got 15 guys on the watch list at the 300 of the Senior Bowl, and you can't get there. We'll find out. But look, and we'll know. Look, this time next week, we'll know. They're playing Clemson.
That's right.
We'll know a lot about our picks.
That's not a must-win game, but it's a must. You better look good game. Like you better have given Clemson a good game.
It's not a must-win, but you better win. Yeah. I mean, who cares about looking good?
It up. We only want to win one game. We only want to win one game, the first game. If you lose that game, then what are you telling?
Well, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying because I think too. I don't know if the team was bought into him and they liked him. If they were to lose that game, like they could overcome it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a non-conference game. It doesn't matter. It's a good team. I mean, I don't know how your predictions would come out, but I've got Clemson pretty high towards the end. So it would be a good loss, right? I mean, at the end of the day, close or not close, still a good loss if they could hang on and get better. But I don't know if they don't lose the team, if they lose that game. It'd be interesting to see what happens.
Last year, Clemson, they got blown out by Georgia, right? And then Clemson still made the playoff. They were able to come back from that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. That's a prime example. That's right.
All right, Roger, who do you have as your 11 seed?
11 seed. I was drinking the juice of the Netflix, and I cannot help it. I've went to a Kenny Chesney concert with this guy. So I'm Beamer. I'm liking South Carolina. I think they got one of the best quarterbacks in the nation who, when he played, he was hurt South Carolina a little bit. South Carolina was so close to winning, but you talk about a coach that has effect on his team and has a culture and that guys believe in him. It's pretty obvious that team believes in Shane Beamer, and those guys are playing to that level and they're getting better. And I think they learned a lot, and I think they believe in Lenore Sellers, and Lenore Sellers believes in Shane Beamer because he had opportunities he could have went anywhere for a lot of money, but he stayed there. That says a lot. And I just like how their team is. A former teammate of mine is the offensive coordinator there, Mike Shula. So little biased to a degree. But I like South Carolina. I like close to making it last year after they, lost a couple of games early that they could have won. So I like South Carolina in that 11 spot.
Yeah. I like South Carolina too. They did not make my playoff. I was at a coin flip between them and another SEC team that I'm going to reveal here soon as my 10 seed. But why don't you go ahead and reveal your 10 seed before I get to that?
So it's a reach, and I was thinking, I was dry, and I'm just telling you, Haynes King.
I like it.
Tough mentality. Brent Key, who, name drop, whatever, is a friend of mine. I love Brent Key. I've known him since he was in high school at Hewitt-Trussville, and he played at Georgia Tech. Right. I loved him when he was the coach at Alabama, coaching the offensive line. He's just nothing pretentious. He just, hey, let's go win. Let's go be tough. And they're finally buying into how he is. The team is starting to reflect how he played. They play till the end. They fight till the end. You saw that in some of those games. So I'm really liking Georgia Tech. I don't think they're good enough to beat. I think you're having a hard time beating Miami and Clemson in the ACC, but I think they can definitely make some noise. They could possibly upset one or two of them, but I think they make the playoffs.
Yeah, I really like that pick. I couldn't quite get there. I sometimes will call Georgia Tech my side team. I do like Georgia Tech and everything that they're doing over there. Last year was so fun with the multiple overtimes there against Georgia at the end. I think that earned a lot of respect for Brent Key and Haynes King for sure. Well, my number 10, not South Carolina. I'm going with Oklahoma. I'm rocking with Jim Nagy and the gang over there in Norman. You got John Mateer coming over there from Washington State. You've got Jaden Ott, I think is his name, and he's coming from
the run back.
Yeah, one of the best running backs you could have got out of the portal. And look, last year, were they down to their 8th string wide receiver, whoever that is? They're probably their 3rd string tight end, running back, whoever they're trying to play in that moment. Jackson Arnold, I didn't think was that good. I don't know how good he really is for Auburn fans. Hopefully he's really good.
I don't think
the defense was always solid, though. Brent Venables, he had Oklahoma playing really solid defense. And now if we're going to completely revamp and reset the offense and you're bringing in some of the best offensive players that you could have brought in, I think Auburn should have brought in Mateer over Arnold. Personally, I thought Mateer was the quarterback to get if you were looking to just get a brand new quarterback. I don't know. And I'm kind of a lot like my feelings with LSU. You have to win this year. You have to show me the success this year or else it's going to be bad. So, and I feel that way with Brent Venables. If you're not flirting with at least bare minimum 8 wins, they're going to get another coach in there. John Gruden's knocking at the door saying he wants to come to the SEC. Every athletic director in the SEC would fire their coach immediately if they could get Gruden in the door. And
I think a note was probably slipped under Hugh Freeze's door.
Yeah, right.
Just saying. I mean, so I'll go ahead and say that Auburn is not going to be in my top 12. Okay. I will say that. So we'll eventually, maybe we'll talk about Auburn a little later. I know we're talking about our playoff teams, but that may come up. But I like Oklahoma for all those same reasons, man. I like Venables. I've always liked Venables. Jim Nagy, I really like. And I like how they're approaching what they're trying to do. I think they're going to be better. I almost think they have to be better because, like I said, they lost all their offensive guys. Arnold wasn't the quarterback. And so I think I can definitely see them making the playoffs. I like them. They're right on the outside too of mine. But
like I said, it was a coin toss for me between them and South Carolina because I love Lenore Sellers, I love Beamer. But I don't know. I just Oklahoma.
I think that Oklahoma has to overcome a lot more. Like to get to where they need to go, they got to overcome a lot of stuff that happened last year. Whereas South Carolina is right on the edge of. I think they're a little further along than what Oklahoma is, even though Oklahoma can get there. And obviously, if the quarterback play and the offensive coordinator is dialed in, I think it could be pretty good. So
I just feel like
they're right on the outside.
Last year, I felt like everyone was surprised by South Carolina. Wow, look at Lenore Sellers. Wow, Shane Beamer. You're not surprising anyone this year. So now that they're expecting you, how will you perform? And they might prove me.
And the thing I like about them too is South Carolina had to rally at the end of the season last year. I don't know how many they won in a row, but they had to kind of rally to get there because they stumbled against LSU and who else they stumbled against early. I can't remember, but somebody else early. It was a close game and they lost. So
was it Kentucky, like a random team?
It might have been. No, that was Ole Miss that lost to Kentucky.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. By the way. All right. So we're down to what are we down to 9?
Yeah, let's hear your 9 seed.
My 9th seed, Miami.
Okay.
I mean, eventually they gotta make it, right? I mean, eventually they've done all this stuff. Mario Cristobal's been in the port. They got the quarterback, it's going to be interesting. I wasn't really impressed. I mean, I don't know. Miami is intriguing and they could either be, but I got them making the playoffs. I got them playing in the ACC championship with Clemson. Yeah. So I'm kind of giving stuff away, but but I like Miami in this thing. They could go south and it could be North Carolina. Who knows?
I'll go ahead and jump one seeding because I have Miami as my 8 seed, not my 9 seed. I think Miami. What was their issues last year? Their defense. Right. The defense should be better this year because they didn't really lose any talent from their defense. So you would think maybe they're going to be a little bit better. They lost a lot of talent on offense, but I guess you're hoping it's a reload, not a rebuild on that side of the ball. evident of bringing in Carson Beck for, I've heard people say they paid him $8 million to $2 million. I don't know what they paid to get Carson Beck out there, but he is out there. Their athletic director thinks they're going to have back-to-back number 1 overall picks going from Cam Ward to Carson Beck.
Oh.
So we'll see if he can live up to that hype. I mean, there was a point in time where we were talking about Carson Beck being the first overall pick, and that all fizzled out last year.
And he's also coming off an injury. I guess everybody just kind of forgets that, right? He's still coming off an injury.
Well, that's why he didn't go to the NFL, is because I think he was being rumored to be drafted in the 5th round because of that injury he had.
Yeah, and he's getting more money.
Right.
I'm just saying he wouldn't be getting paid this what he's getting paid. He's not getting paid in the NFL. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But I had Miami as my 8 seed. Also, I have them losing in that ACC championship game. But as my 9 seed, I'll jump back to 9 really quick. I have Texas Tech, and I have Texas Tech as the winners of the Big 12, making the playoff as my 9 seed. Look, they had the number 1 transfer portal recruiting class. They've got a $40 million roster. It's one of the 5 most expensive rosters in all of college football, right up there.
And third in the NFL.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Right up there with the Texas Longhorns. But they bring in their defensive line is going to be insane, and their offensive line is going to be insane. And Roger, you know this. Where do you win football games? In the trenches, right?
That's right.
And I feel like that's normally not what you go for in the portal. I feel like when you think portal, you're going to get your DBs, your receivers, and your running backs.
But if you want to win championships, you better be. If anything showed you with Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State, Michigan, you better be strong on the offense and defense. Yep. You better win the trenches. And obviously, they've addressed that issue.
They've invested into it for sure.
Yeah. They've invested because they know that's important. Yeah. But I mean, they're the team too. Is like I said, we talked about Clemson and Texas Tech, kind of the 2 different models of kind of how to do it, and polar opposites almost. And I'm not really pulling for them to do it because for that reason.
I hear you.
I mean, I'm a kind of old school a little bit. And I just think it's just. You still got to build your culture with up. You got to have, there's a combination somewhere. I don't know what that combination is. I don't have a solution to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not going to be, I'm not a Red super fan. I'm not going to be wearing the cowboy hat.
Yeah,
but hey, I do think last year they went 8-5, right? So it's not like they're building it up from, hey, we were 0-12. Let's try to make a super team by just throwing money into it.
No,
they were 8-5. Then you make this awesome portal class. So I have to assume that's at least good for 1 or 2 more wins, and that would probably get you into the Big 12.
Well, and that's like saying the Big 12 championship. Literally, we could be sitting here at the end of this thing, and Kansas wins it. I mean, Houston may win it. Who knows? I mean, the Big 12. Who knows? I mean, it is. That's what I like about it. Plus, at the end of the day, I still like Kansas State. I mean,
it was just a really sloppy, ugly, bad roll of the dice. It felt like.
Yeah.
Well, all right, let's see. So that was my 9, and I revealed my 8 because you said Miami. So who is your 8?
Well, my Big 12 winner.
Okay.
BYU.
All right.
And now that I say that, I just realized their quarterback's gone.
Yeah, they're fresh. They got the starting, I think their first ever freshman quarterback to start, Bariach. He's got an odd name. And you know what his jersey number is? Starting quarterback.
22.
47.
I love that. That's more reason I love why I picked BYU now.
Okay.
The guy's name's Bear. He wears 47. What solidifies my pick. So,
right.
But I think BYU is going to end up winning that thing. That's just. Okay. I think I BYU. I got them winning the Big 12.
See, I'm fading BYU this year. I don't know. I'm just not. I don't like getting rid of your quarterback because he had sex. That's just a weird vibe to me. I don't like that.
That's terrible. I can't believe he had sex. That's awful. Young 20-year-old guy. I thought Mormon soaked. I don't know, but
yeah. I'm just a new insult you can start throwing at someone is, hey, you look like you're getting your doctorates at BYU. Like you just cannot have sex.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, what's next? Number 7, your 7th seed.
My 7th seed goes to the University of Texas.
All right.
The Arch Manning dynasty starts this year, but they've got to replace a whole offensive line. Now, I know they got a lot of good recruits. Texas is that one team that I've got them in this just because, well, the hype is so big for them, and I'm kind of buying it a little bit. But then when I'm going against my gut instinct of when you got to replace 4 out of 5 offensive line starters from that team,
Yeah.
It's not a good thing. And they lost some receivers in the draft. I mean,
And they're starting running back.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I'm going against all my things, putting them in it. But I like Arch Manning. I like Sarkisian. I think they'll figure it out offensively as long as that defense stays solid. But I don't think they're going to be the number one team in the country. I don't think they're going to win the SEC. I don't think they're going to play in the SEC championship, but I think they'll have a good enough team to make the playoffs.
I get you. See, I feel like, Texas and Sarkisian, they're always one of the top 5 teams, it feels like, or at least over the past few years. Georgia and Kirby Smart feels like they're always one of the top 5 teams. But I feel like those 2 teams this year, the rosters are all questionable. We're all kind of just putting all our stock into Kirby Smart is going to have a 10-win team. Steve Sarkisian is going to have a 10-win team because they're just that great, of coaches, and they've set their kind of standard at their program to where their floor is pretty high, no matter what.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
For my number 7, kind of in that same vibe, I kind of feel this way for this team. I'm not that crazy about their roster. They got a new quarterback, but I like Dan Lanning and everything that he's able to do. I have Oregon as my 7 seed, taking a bit of a step back from Dylan Gabriel and Bo Nix, and you losing all this talent to the NFL. Your defenses are always, feels like they're always giving up 30 points, but last year, you lost one football game, and that one football game that you lost was to the national champions. I think Oregon's going to be fine. I think it's just reload over rebuild, and I think Oregon will be making the playoff.
Yeah. So I guess my number 6 team, right, is Oregon.
Okay.
So I'm right there. Yeah. So Oregon was my 6th. Same reason that you said. I think they're going to be. I think they just kind of reload. Obviously, they got to replace their quarterback, and the kid they got playing quarterback is really. They got the transfer from like UCLA that's supposed to be was one of the top quarterbacks, and so
I can't remember exactly.
Special. I can't think off the top of my head, and I apologize, but
I saw they just named him as the starter.
Yeah, I think he's a kid from UCLA, and he's like one of the top recruits, 5-star recruits.
Dante Moore.
Yeah, Dante Moore. Yeah. And he's a good quarterback, and he got to sit behind Dylan Gabriel for a year.
That's right,
because he had that experience at UCLA, and that was with Chip Kelly was kind of a crap show, and then he goes to Oregon. He kind of could observe Dylan Gabriel and kind of. So I think he's going to be really good. And I like Oregon. So like I said, I got them 6th.
All right. So for my 6th seed, I have the reigning national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes. I think they're going to be really good. I think they're going to lose in the Big Ten championship. That'll put them there as the 6th seed. Look, I think they're great, but freshman quarterback Julian Sayin, I love the entire roster, but I just think we're going to dip back just a hair with the freshman quarterback, but I still think Ohio State is going to be really solid.
No, I agree that Ohio State's going to be a solid team, and I'll be telling you where they end up. I got them on my list. Okay. I haven't mentioned them yet. So let's go number 5, right? So you do number 5 and I'll do number 5.
All right. At number 5, I have the Alabama Crimson Tide. After they lose in the SEC championship, I actually don't have them losing in the SEC championship. I have them just on the outside of making the SEC championship. They're the 5 seed. They're going to have a great season. I'm really high on Ty Simpson. I'm really high on Ryan Grubb. I'm really, really high on Alabama's defense this year and their secondary. I thought that they got better as the year progressed last year. I think just all the Jalen Milroe stuff, and we've talked about that. Everyone has ad nauseum. So I'm not going to get back into all the Milroe things and why Ty Simpson didn't start. That's in the past, but now Ty Simpson is the starter. I like the receivers that they brought in. I love Ryan Williams. I think Alabama's going to be really good this year, but I just don't have them quite getting that bye.
Okay, I understand. So my 5th place team is the Georgia Bulldogs. I think they make it to the SEC championship, but I think they lose to the Alabama Crimson Tide.
All right.
So I got the Tide winning the SEC for a lot of reasons, and I'll talk about. I should probably just say where Alabama's ranked because I'm jumping ahead, but I got them at number 3.
Go for it.
I got them at number 3. I got Alabama at number 3, and I think for the same reason, I think that Ty Simpson at quarterback I think it's going to it's going to be better. I think the offense will run a little bit better. It'll be more consistent, right? It won't be as inconsistent. Like one game we get this, the next game, I think having Ryan Grubb there, I think that's going to help Kalen DeBoer. I think Kalen DeBoer in his second year I think he kind of felt his way around a little bit yesterday. Maybe it was last year, maybe he was a little cautious. Maybe didn't do some things that he probably really wanted to do because he's coming to this program. And so I think that he's going to be better off. You know, I saw a video of their strength coach talking about these dudes. And if you look at Alabama, just go watch a film or YouTube, anything you want to on Alabama, and look at that roster. Look how physical they are. I mean, they're big. And they've got a couple scrimmages where everybody goes, well, I don't know if the offensive line is that good this year. I go, well, they're playing against Alabama. And I think Kane Womack did a good job with Alabama. I think people kind of forget. Because it's a different defense than what Saban ran, and it's a little bit of gamble, blitz a little bit more to kind of leave some people on. So people are nervous about it, but it was still a pretty good defense. It was a great defense, and it got better. The defensive backs our defensive backs are the best in the country. Got a great Deontay Lawson from Alabama is outstanding, and the defensive line has to be a little bit better in creating a little bit of a pass rush, a little bit of pressure, and I think they'll be better too. So, I mean, I really like Alabama. I like Alabama. The thing that bothered me last year with Ty Simpson's development is there were opportunities to get him in games where they didn't get him into games soon enough to work with maybe the first team offensive line and stuff. And the only real question mark I have about DeBoer last year was not getting Ty Simpson. Like the Wisconsin game, for instance, is a prime example. We were pretty much after about 5-6 minutes into the third quarter, before even jump around started, Alabama had, let's put Ty Simpson in there, let him run with the first team offensive line a couple of series, and then, bring in the second team line with Simpson, and then you can do whatever you want to do. But I think they kept Melrose in there too long. But that was probably DeBoer saying, he's like, hey, we got to his thinking is, okay, we got to keep Milroe in there because he's got to learn the offense, he's got to see more, and maybe that was for his development. Yeah. Right? Because he's good, so now, so it's going to be interesting, but I do really like Alabama. I like Alabama winning the SEC, going to the SEC championship and win the SEC championship against Georgia. But Georgia will end up at number 5 and Alabama end up at number 3.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So my number 4, I have Texas as the number 4 team because I have them losing to Georgia, who I have at number 2 in the SEC championship game. We're going to get a rematch there in the SEC championship. Georgia and Kirby Smart are going to beat Sarkisian and company again. So that's how I have the SEC championship going. And then I'll just go ahead and finish out my top 4, and we'll kind of get through how we see it progressing. In number 3, I have Penn State. I got Penn State winning the Big Ten. Drew Aller's back. Their running back is back. You lose Tyler Warren. You lose the star defensive end in Abdul Carter. And you're really good safety too. But I think Penn State's going to be really solid. I think that everything is maybe setting up for Penn State to actually have a pretty, I mean, they had a really solid year last year, but maybe they can go even just a bit further. And then as my number 1 seed, I have the ACC champions, the Clemson Tigers. That is the team that I am the most sure about. I think their schedule is not the most difficult schedule in the world, but there are some tough games in there. But I think Clemson, their D-line and their quarterback, I just think that Clemson is going to be too tough to beat.
Go down your 4-3-2-1 again.
As my 4 seed, I have Texas. Right. As my 3 seed, I have Penn State. As my 2, I have Georgia. And as my 1, I have Clemson.
Okay. All right. So my 2 is Penn State.
All right.
I have Penn State is 2. I think Penn State beats Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
All right. We're thinking the same there.
And then I've got Clemson as my number 1 seed.
So. All right. There we go. All right. Well, we filled out our brackets. We've kind of picked who we think will win and who's going to get there. So I'll just kind of go through quickly my matchup. So out of Miami and Texas Tech, my 8 and 9, I've got Miami beating Texas Tech. I think, the well-funded roster, I think it comes to an end there. And I think Carson Beck gets him a playoff win. Then in my 5-12, I have Alabama versus Navy. I have the Alabama Crimson Tide defeating Navy. I think that
Navy
take care of business.
Who does Navy beat in the first round?
That's their first. The first round matchup is Navy.
5-2. Oh, that's
Bama.
right. You got Alabama.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I didn't have them in the top 4.
Yeah, that's right.
And then over there at my 7-10, I've got Oregon taking on Oklahoma. I have Oklahoma defeating the Oregon Ducks. I think Mateer and the veteran leadership at quarterback, and he'll be plenty comfortable with the Oklahoma offense by the time this game rolls around. I got them beating Oregon. And then in my 6-11, Ohio State versus LSU. Brian Kelly, you made the playoffs. You got you one more year, but you're not advancing. Ohio State's going to beat LSU in that 6-11. So those are my first round matchups and who I have winning.
All right. So my first round matchup, I got Texas taking on Georgia Tech. Texas wins that game. Then my 6-11, Oregon, South Carolina. I got South Carolina in an upset beating Oregon. Okay. I just think the SEC is a little tougher.
Yeah. So we both have our SEC team upsetting Oregon.
Yeah.
All right, I like that.
Go figure. I wonder where we live.
Yeah, that's right.
Then we got BYU is an 8 seed taking on number 9, Miami. I got Miami winning that game, taking on Clemson. And then, of course, Georgia, Boise State. I got Georgia winning that game. And then they'll move on to play Ohio State.
All right. So then my next series of matchups. So now I've got Clemson taking on Miami, my 1 versus 8. I've got Clemson winning that. And advancing to that.
So who do you got? Your 1 versus 8 is
Clemson versus Miami, and I got Clemson winning.
So I got Clemson in Miami, and I got Clemson winning.
All right, so we're the same there. We're the same there on that side. So under that, I have my 4-5. I've got Texas versus Alabama, and I've got Alabama beating Texas. Feeling good after that Navy win. Texas, maybe they're a little rusty coming off the L in the SEC championship, and then still having the bye week. I like Alabama to actually defeat Texas there in that 4-5. What do you have there?
I've got Georgia taking on Ohio State, and I've got Ohio State advancing, beating Georgia in that. I think that saying by the time the end of the season rolls around, he'll have gotten better. And I just think Ohio State will beat Georgia.
All right.
So I got Ohio State taking on Clemson.
All right.
We'll
there we go.
Later. Yeah.
Now on the other side, let's see. I'm trying to read my handwriting here. I got Georgia taking on Oklahoma, and I have Oklahoma upsetting Georgia. Oklahoma, they're going to get hot. John Mateer, I think he's going to look great. Hopefully everyone is still healthy by then, right? But I have Oklahoma actually upsetting Georgia as a 10 seed, upsetting the 2 seed.
Wow. So I have Texas and Penn State, with Penn State winning that ball game. So Penn State will win that ball game. And then when you go down to the 3 whatever, I got South Carolina and Alabama, with Alabama winning that. So my semifinal games would be Penn State versus Alabama, Clemson versus Ohio State. So, yeah, that pretty much.
And then for my 3-6, I have the rematch of the Big Ten championship. Penn State, the 3 seed, taking on Ohio State, the 6 seed. And then to come up with my champion, I've got Clemson, Bama in my semifinal. And then I've got Oklahoma, Penn State in my semifinal. I've got Clemson beating your Alabama Crimson Tide. I've got Penn State defeating Mateer and Oklahoma. The Cinderella run comes to an end, and we're going to have the 1 seed Clemson versus the 3 seed Penn State in the national championship.
Well, I've got Alabama playing in the national championship against Clemson, a classic throwback to the Ot teens, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Is it Ot teens? I don't know. 5 or 6 years ago.
Right.
So, and of course, if you see behind me, I'm a little biased. I'm going to, even though I do love Clemson and I love Dabo, I'm going to go with the Alabama Crimson Tide returning to glory and hoisting the trophy as national champions.
All right. And I have your boy, Dabo, adding another national championship to the collection. They defeat Penn State, and the Clemson Tigers get themselves another national championship.
All right. I may preface this that Clemson ends up in the national championship against anybody but Alabama. I got the Clemson Tigers and Dabo hoisting the trophy, and we all win and we're all happy. So
All right.
it's
Well,
going to
there
be
we
good.
go.
Yeah.
Well, Roger, that's it. We've recapped week 0. We've given our official predictions. Next time we hop on the weekend rewind.
Oh, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of games to talk about. We'll see if Alabama gets their win. We'll see what Dabo and Brian Kelly.
A lot of great games,
Yeah,
and not only that. So what's interesting is, we got a game Sunday and a game Monday. So do we do a recap before we do the or do we do the recap after the?
I don't know. We'll have to.
That's a good thing about podcasting, right? We can do it Monday, but we don't want to miss it. We'll figure it out. May have to do 2. We can recap Sunday and Monday, and then do like a little prediction show.
All right, there we go. I like it. Look,
he's got, podcasting. We can do it, right? We can cuss, so it's great.
That's right. Let me hear a cuss word, Roger. Give me one.
No, I can't do it. I've been in radio so long; it's hard for me to do.
I know. I don't want to get in the habit, right? And then I hop on air.
I have a hard time, but I will. I may drop one every once in a while.
There we go.
But I don't have to feel bad about it. Did I say that?
Well, look, hey guys, be sure to subscribe, follow the podcast, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And whenever Roger does inevitably let that F-bomb slip, you'll want to be the first person to hear it. But
I put a nickel in the jar.
There you go. Roger, man, thanks so much for hopping on. I'm really excited for this season and what we're going to be able to do here on Weekend Rewind. And next week, we'll cover all the college football games again.
That's right. We got it. See you, Nick.
All right. See you later, man. All right. Welcome into the NFL side of the Weekend Rewind. I'm joined by my guy, Stephen Root. Root, what's up, man? I'm excited to be starting this journey with you this football season. This is
an exciting thing, man. You and I have come a long way together. And I really am looking forward to kind of starting something. I'm excited for you doing the college football hour with Roger Shultz. Man, that's awfully cool, and I'm just honored you choose me to do this now.
Oh yeah. Couldn't think of anyone better to do it with. Well, look, you and I, we're going to be covering the NFL throughout the season, and it is called the Weekend Rewind. But today we're going to be previewing the AFC and giving out our predictions for the whole AFC side of the playoff bracket. But I do want to rewind on something that's definitely going to be a bit of a narrative. Shedeur Sanders, he just played for the Cleveland Browns in that final preseason game. Did not look good at all. They didn't play him there in that 2-minute drill. They already signed Tyler Huntley. They got Dylan Gabriel. They got Joe Flacco. They got Kenny Pickett. They also got this guy that we all forget about named Deshaun Watson. Now people are saying they don't even think Shedeur is going to make the roster. What do you think, Root? Does Shedeur make the roster? Shedeur is very confident that he is.
Well, the talk is that, look, you spend the draft capital. I think a lot of people, if you would have taken Shedeur late and that was the only quarterback you would have taken, okay, you maybe wouldn't have so many people just on your ass about the decision-making. But no, you took Dylan Gabriel earlier. And you can't – now you're in the spot where you're going to go into the season with 4 quarterbacks, and they've said they are. But if 4 is the number, you've just reeled off a lot of names. Tough day for the entire Sanders household, man. Shiloh kicked off the Buccaneers, kicked off of the field, throwing a punch. Now he's off the team. Good luck getting picked up elsewhere. But I don't know. I think you spend draft capital for Shedeur. I don't think you let him go quite this early, though you haven't really seen much to want to keep him. But is there a development possibility? Maybe. But honestly, if you had to choose, I'm picking Dylan Gabriel out of the 2 if you have to keep one.
Could you sign him and trade him to someone for a 5th-round pick? Like, has he lived up to at least that draft capital, you think, from someone else, maybe the Saints or someone else who just needs another quarterback in their room?
Well, possibly. I don't think you're getting back much, maybe what you said. But at this point, it's so easy to undo any positivity you had surrounding your name. Whatever you did at Colorado, you can throw that away in the NFL preseason. If you look absolutely terrified and taking 20-yard sacks in a preseason game against backups. I mean, that's an issue. And maybe he's got some bad habits with his mechanics. I mean, sure, that's kind of maybe to be expected out of a guy coming out of college. But now look, he's got too much competition just on that team. And the team has made the choice to start Joe Flacco. They're going with let's not see any of them in real.
Yeah, but it should have been a foregone conclusion that it was going to be Joe Flacco.
Oh, I'm all for
like,
it.
out of everyone on the roster who most recently took this current team to the playoffs and won their head coach a Coach of the Year award, it's Joe Flacco.
Hey, he deserves it all the way. And I'm not saying they should do anything but start Joe Flacco, but they've just put themselves in the spot that if you're a fan, you're just in hell. I mean, this is nothing good will happen this year. Honestly, the most exciting quarterback they have is Joe Flacco. The man can still put up numbers, and I expect him to not be terrible, and that's what you want. But the rookies, you're stuck. You're absolutely stuck. You've got Kenny Pickett being on that team, just totally forgotten about. When we will ever see Deshaun Watson again, who knows? But you drafted two guys that you're not going to have on the field this year. It's going to be a bad situation if either of those guys are on the field. But I think Shedeur has already shown you that it's pretty rough. And I don't see in that crowded room the amount of time to put into him as a project. I don't know if they've got it in them or not.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, look, they got a lot of other rookies on the Cleveland Browns, but let's go ahead. Let's get into our AFC preview. So we're just going to go division by division, and we're just going to, basically give our predictions, and we're also going to give one bold take for each team. And the sweet spot of bold, is right there. And like, man, there's no way. And then I could see that happening. So that's what we're shooting for. But let's start, we were talking about the Browns. Let's start with the AFC North. Let's go with the Cleveland Browns to start off. Vegas has their win total set at 4.5. I think that's a pretty good line, but I do think if we're going with Joe Flacco, I kind of like the over there. And I think my bold take for the Cleveland Browns this season is if Joe Flacco is the quarterback, they might not be that bad. Because last time he was the quarterback, they were not that bad. And if Quinshon Judkins can get going with all the stuff he's, I guess, now cleared of, get comfortable, get with the roster. Jerry Jeudy, we saw sparks last year. You're adding Harold Fannin. The defense was never bad, I don't think, in my opinion. And I don't think Jerome Ford is bad. I think Jerome Ford is pretty solid as well. So him just being in that backfield with Dylan Sampson, I would say that'd be my bold. Now, I do not think they have a chance in hell to make the playoffs. When I say pretty good, maybe they go and are pushing and fighting to be 500 when we were all expecting them to be the worst team, in the entire league.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But then once again, I do think that with Joe Flacco, he gives you the best chance of winning games. I mean, I still think at his age, he does still put up numbers to be competitive. It'll all be about their skill guys. And, there's a lot of intriguing rookies on this team. Yeah, the Judkins situation, I guess the NFL still conducting their own investigation. They also go out and after the draft, he went undrafted due to legal issues of his own, but wide receiver Isaiah Bond, previously of Alabama, but coming out of Texas, all world talent, first round talent, a 4.3 something guy. They are not afraid to sign these guys with some legal issues possibly, but hopefully a couple of guys that put all that behind them and they're all good. But even a guy you didn't mention, Dylan Sampson out of Tennessee, anybody who watches SEC football, Dylan Sampson kept Tennessee alive last year. They would not have won as many games as they did without Dylan Sampson. He was the workhorse for them. So with the veteran like Jerome Ford and then these young guys, you've still got a Jerry Jeudy. But I think but then you're once again in hell of, okay, we win 5 or 6 games. And the fans don't want that. The fans don't want that at all. So it's just a tough situation to be. One, you maybe want to see some of these rookie quarterbacks if they get an opportunity, but they're not going to. They're far down on the depth chart, and Joe Flacco is going to be decent. And, yeah, you probably will win 4 or 5 I don't know about 6 games, and then you're just looking ahead at the draft again. But there is talent on this team. I just, we'll see. We'll see if you get a full season out of Joe Flacco, but I'm all interested in the rookie talent for Cleveland because there's a lot of it.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's go over to another team in the AFC. How about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Brand new quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, Arthur Smith still out there. They got the new running back out of the draft, Caleb Johnson. They also have DK Metcalf now as their wide receiver 1. Jonnu Smith is back. Their defense is still tough as ever. I think I'll go ahead and let you rip off your bold take and your prediction before I say anything.
I think my bold take is they're not going to be they're not going to be very good. And I think that will be because we don't get a full season of Aaron Rodgers. I think at this point, it's maybe just natural to assume we're not going to get 17 games out of Aaron Rodgers. And even if you did, what does that look like? And I think the playoffs are not going to happen for the Steelers. I think that they're just going to be totally middle of the pack, if not below average. And, they've added some guys. You bring in DK Metcalf and essentially adding him and letting George Pickens get to Dallas. I think, Metcalf, we know who he is. Pickens could be an ascending star that you no longer have. You're really hoping on rookie running back Caleb Johnson to be something special. Until he shows that, Jaylen Warren is a decent back. He's going to play probably the bigger role.
You say your bold take is that you don't think they're going to be that good. My bold take would be the complete opposite. I think the Steelers are going to be really good, maybe. Look, last year they made the playoffs. They were good enough, and that was with Russell Wilson. I think Aaron Rodgers right now is better than Russell Wilson. I think Caleb Johnson and the running backs, I don't think you're losing a step there from last year. And I think your receiving core, I think DK Metcalf is an upgrade over George Pickens. And I think that Jonnu Smith is an upgrade over, just in addition, adding him to Freiermuth over there. Tomlin, look, he's going to grind his team to a good record. And I just think Aaron Rodgers is going to enhance that. The defense is great. This is one of the best defenses Aaron Rodgers probably ever had the pleasure of playing with. And last year for the Jets, Aaron Rodgers wasn't that bad. He wasn't that good, but Arthur Smith runs such a run-heavy scheme. I think it's just like Aaron Rodgers, can you just do enough, right? Like Arthur Smith almost drug Desmond Ridder to 7 wins. He almost drug, Marcus Mariota to a 500-win season. You give him Aaron Rodgers and the defense. That's another thing. It's not like you ever had a defense over there in Atlanta. Now you got this great defense. I don't know. I think that the Steelers can be pretty good. I have them actually making the playoffs.
Yeah, I do not. I'm going to say it's not going to work. I think that you're asking too much. Everything you laid out is best case scenario when you're dealing with Aaron Rodgers at this point, whether it's his health or chemistry or all of it. I think that it's some major personalities are going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to work well together. Time will tell on that. Is there talent enough on this team? I think so. They might be good at the starting level, but there's still too many questions. You lean on Najee Harris since he came out of the draft, and you lean on him awfully heavily. Now you've drafted a guy that kind of looks a lot like him and plays a lot like him, but he's got to prove it. Caleb Johnson. I just think that I'm not buying into it. I think something is going to happen. The wheels will come off at some point. The Aaron Rodgers experiment will not work.
All right. We'll see. Let's go to another team over there in the AFC North. Let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, the Vegas total for them is at 11.5. And look, I'm really high on the Ravens. I think this might be Derrick Henry's version of the Saquon Barkley year that we had last year. I think this is the year that the Ravens prove to everyone how much better that they are than everyone else in the NFL. I'm very high on the Ravens. We're going to get to our Super Bowl and playoff predictions here in a little bit, but I think the Ravens are going to be one of, if not the best team in the league.
Yeah, I can't. It's like I can't say too much until we get to that prediction about the Super Bowl. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it has to be this year. It has to be deep playoff run. It has to be Super Bowl this year. I mean, it really does. It has to be make the Super Bowl, win this conference championship, play in the Super Bowl. They're so good at drafting as well. They're going to be able to add to this team with guys like Malachi Starks, a starter level guy that you're able to get in the draft, that you can plug and play as your starting safety immediately. And you have a Zay Flowers who's only getting a year older now. You've signed Rashad Bateman, who people might not love these weapons of Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, but
Well, and DeAndre Hopkins, they just got DeAndre Hopkins. I think that's kind of underrated.
yeah, and I mean, they can use him in the perfect way. You don't have to ask him to do a whole lot at this point. He can be a good piece for you, but your younger skill guys, you re-sign Rashad Bateman to, I think, a 3-year extension, but he's only 25 years old. He's more of the deep threat. Zay Flowers is a player I like a lot. He's the way Lamar moves around. He needs a smaller, quicker guy in the slot to find the holes in the defense, and Zay Flowers does that. I think Zay Flowers' explosion year is this year.
Okay.
You gotta have a good year out of your tight ends if you're Baltimore. That's just a big part of this offense. Mark Andrews, the poor guy, man.
They have the best tight end room in the league. Like from your tight end 1 and your tight end 2 combined, by far, to me, best tight end room in the league. Because I think Isaiah Likely might even be better than Mark Andrews at this point. But Mark Andrews, man, they were running him almost just like he was a right tackle last year, like just blocking on a lot of the plays. So if you had him in fantasy, that was incredibly frustrating the first half of the season. And then I know he had the most touchdowns he ever had, but he did all that at the end, and I already gave up on him at that point. Not that I'm bitter or anything, but I just think the Ravens. I love Isaiah Likely though.
I know. I feel for Mark Andrews too, though, man. He is, and yes, this is what the fans are going to do. If you have drops and big moments, it just feels like too many things go wrong for Mark Andrews all the time. Whether it's drops or health, it's always something. But those two guys, if healthy all the time, yeah, I like them a lot. And Isaiah Likely is a totally different kind of player than Mark Andrews, but an absolute offensive weapon, just an athletic freak at tight end. But, you know, the defense, when you look at the names on their defense, it's unbelievable. Kyle Hamilton, Jair Alexander, Roquan Smith, you know, just to name a few. I mean, the talent is all there. They've been so smart at making additions. They're always one of the best coached and best ran teams in the league. Their front office is one of the best. So at a certain point, it's got to just happen for you. The whole narrative will always be, when will they be able to pull it off? It's got to be this year. I don't think they've had a team this well-rounded talent-wise. I think it's only gotten better every year, and this has to be the year it all comes together. You're only going to have Derrick Henry for so much longer. He's a freak. Yep. I could see a couple more years out of him, but don't waste that man's time. Who would not want to see him win that ring?
Well, hey, they may get it this year. Who knows? All right, one more team in the AFC North, the Cincinnati Bengals. Their win total is sitting there at 8.5. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be the second best team in this division. And I think that's saying something because I'm high on the Pittsburgh Steelers and I have them making the playoffs. Look, I'm really high on Joe Burrow. He looked great in preseason. They were trying to kind of get him warmed up. If the Bengals would have had a good defense last year, Joe Burrow might have been our MVP based off the year that he had. I think Trey Hendrickson, I think all that stuff's going to get figured out. I'm pretty sure the Shamar Stewart stuff is going to be figured out. Your wide receivers are happy. They have their contracts. I think Chase Brown is going to be the breakout player. I'm expecting like an Austin Eckler, like the peak Chargers, time for him over here in Cincinnati. I don't know. I'm just really high on the Bengals. I think they're almost like the opposite of the Steelers. Like the Steelers, their defense is great, and I think their offense is going to be good enough. And for the Bengals, I think their offense is great, and I think maybe surprisingly to some, I think their defense is going to be good enough.
All that will matter is the offensive line. The offensive line is going to make or break this team, and will make or break Joe Burrow. And if he can stay on the field, I have major concerns about this offensive line. You have to. I mean, it's a problem every year. And Joe Burrow is a gamer. He'll face it. But, man, he'll get himself in some dangerous situations. And they're an absolutely extremely top-heavy team talent-wise. Their 5 best players, Trey Hendrickson, Burrow, Higgins, Chase, and we'll say Chase Brown now, because I'm also a huge believer in Chase Brown. This will be a huge year for him. But they are so talented at the absolute top that if you lose one of these guys, it's a major blow. And, health concerns possibly with T. Higgins, we'll see. But if healthy, yeah, their offense is it's must see. But I have major concerns about the offensive line. I hope they can be good enough and keep Joe Burrow healthy, because when healthy, this team is one of the most fun teams in the league to watch. I'll say it's easier for me to say that they'll be the second best team in this division, because I don't believe that much in the Steelers. So it's easy for me to say they will be the second best team in this division. But I'm just hoping for good health for Burrow especially, and that they do not let him down as an offensive line unit.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the AFC North. Let's head down south. Let's talk about the AFC South. Probably one of the lesser of the divisions over in the AFC. And I don't think I'm, saying anything bold by saying that. But let's start it off by talking about the Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones, he's the quarterback. Shane Steichen says he's got a long leash. It's not going to be hey, 3 weeks later they bench him. It might be, but that's at least not what the plan is. Anthony Richardson, he's a bit frustrated, feels a bit, he's got trust issues now or whatever, now that he's not going to be the quarterback. But look, you still got Jonathan Taylor. And you got who I think, here's my bold take, they may have the best tight end in the NFL within 2 years. Give me 2 years. But I'll say this year off rip, top 5. Like, I think we're getting a Brock Bowers type jump onto the scene. Based off his production, I think he's going to get so many just design touches, because there's just not much for that offense. And if Daniel Jones is going to be checking it down, or if Anthony Richardson, they don't trust him to throw it and he has to check it down, Tyler Warren's going to be there. And then he's going to just run like a bowling ball, truck as many people as he can. He might take handoffs as well. Hell, they might even let him throw the ball. Who knows? I'm very, very high on Tyler Warren. If you haven't done a fantasy football draft yet, I would recommend drafting him like 2 rounds early just to make sure you get him. Because barring injury, I think there's just no way he's not a top 5 tight end. But for the Colts as a whole, I think with Daniel Jones, they're going to be fine. I think that if your goal is to win football games, and depending on what you want your team to do, if you're a fan or not or whatever, you might want them to actually lose to, start some big rebuild and start from scratch or whatever. But if the coach is trying to win games and the GM is trying to win games, and that's what they're trying to do to save their jobs, then Daniel Jones is by far the best choice you can make to be your quarterback. He took the Giants to the playoffs. Anthony Richardson hasn't played a full season of games. He's played 15 games in his entire NFL career, right? His last game as a college quarterback, I think he threw 9 for 27 passing. I don't know why. Like, he is just a Jalen Milroe experiment. And I thought Jalen Milroe showed flashes over there in that full preseason game he played for Seattle this past weekend. But you don't take the Jalen Milroe experiment and say, hey, day 1, you're starting, man. You know what I mean? You say, hey, let's give it 2 years. Let's wait. They didn't do that. So I do think they kind of, shot themselves in the foot on that whole plan. But with Daniel Jones, I think the Colts are going to be okay.
I agree. I mean, with most of that, I think I know your love for Tyler Warren. I do think he's going to. I do think he's careful. Do not mention Brock Bowers yet. But
Taysom Hill mixed with George Kittle is what I see.
Okay. Okay. I like the Colts as a whole. They have talent kind of spread out everywhere, and they're kind of a solid team from top to bottom. But the question will always be this quarterback situation. You're right about winning football games and who helps you do that. It's Daniel Jones, just because he's steady. We know what we're going to get out of him. But, I mean, at this point, do you want to win 5 or 6 games with Daniel Jones this year, or maybe 7 or 8 with Anthony Richardson down the road? Now we never know. I don't think Anthony Richardson's long for this team. I think there's going to come a day where they trade him and somebody else takes on that project. I just think it's possibly been mismanaged a little bit, but you can only deal with what you have to deal with when he's healthy. I mean, if he's not available, maybe due to his style of play that just is not sustainable. We see other guys that are mobile but are smart about it, that have not really dealt with much injuries, whether it's Jaden Daniels to this point or Jalen Hurts, that can be mobile but take care of themselves. Anthony Richardson not able to stay healthy. So, you can only develop what's available. He hasn't been. So
yep.
I don't blame them for taking the safe option. There's skill guys on this team to help them be really good, or, just by Colts standards. We'll say that. There's talent enough. I love Josh Downs. He's a great kind of a gadget receiver, smaller guy, really fast. But Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Jonathan Taylor, you've got weapons on this team that can help you be decent. They won't be an embarrassment. They will show up. They'll give teams fights every week. But at the end of the day, you're still maybe a 6-win team.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's go to another team in the AFC South. Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans. You got the second-year coach out there in Callahan. You also got the first overall pick in Cam Ward. They have their win total set at the lowest over there in the AFC South for the Titans at 5.5. Look, I like Cam Ward. I think I saw a thing where he said he wants to be called Cameron Ward moving forward. So let me say Cameron Ward. I like Calvin Ridley. I like Tony Pollard. But as a whole, this team, there's going to be growing pains. It's going to be better than the Will Levis Titans. And I don't think that's saying much. But I think coming out of this season, we're all going to know for a fact that Cam Ward is that guy. Maybe we're probably not talking about him like we're talking about Jaden Daniels. But I would say like a middle ground between Jaden Daniels and maybe how we were talking about Bo Nix is how we're going to be talking about Cam Ward coming off this season. Even though both those guys made the playoffs, I don't think the Titans are going to be very good, but I think Cam Ward's going to get his stats. I think he knows how to throw football, and I don't think he's got that bad a receiving core. I mean, Tyler Lockett's out there. He's got some good vets, some good rookies. His boy Restrepo is out there, but I don't know, 5.5. I would probably take the under, but I think it's going to be a really fun 5 wins for the Titans.
Yeah, I don't think Restrepo is going to make the team. I think they may have cut him already.
Oh dang, no!
That hurts. That's his boy. That's his college teammate. But I am already a huge fan of Cam Ward, and I liked what he did at Miami, but I've become far bigger of a fan of his kind of during the draft and post-draft. The amount of coverage he got during the draft, the amount of disrespect when it came to coverage and talking about the number 1 pick in the draft and who he is and really covering him, it didn't happen. They made storylines out of everything else but him. And all he has done is show that he is wise beyond his years. He prepares maybe better than anybody on that team, from what it sounds like. And we've already seen it, and whether it's camp or these preseason games, he's smart. He can put the ball anywhere. I think they're going to be better. I think they're going to be better than you might think. I don't know exactly how many wins that turns into, but I think you're going to see Tennessee have a direction immediately. We're going to be able to see, we see what this team can be, and it's going to be led by Cam Ward. He is the leader of this team already, and I think it's going to be evident very quickly. They have a great mixture. You mentioned these guys. They have a great mixture of young and veteran talent. I'm not sleeping on Tennessee at all. Maybe this year it's just a noticing period of what they've got, but coming soon, the Cam Ward-led Titans will be something in the next couple of years.
All right. Well, let's talk about another team over there in the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their win total set at 7.5. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to win this division. I think that Liam Cohen and the middle schooler that they got from LA to be their GM, I think they're cooking up something. And look what Liam Cohen was able to get out of Baker Mayfield in that offense last year. I think Trevor Lawrence is more than capable of producing like that. And I think Travis Hunter's great. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is great. And I think a lot of people have written off Travis Etienne Jr., but I still like Etienne. And then I think Tank Bigsby looked really good as well. I think that this team is going to be fun. I think we're going to finally see who the number 1 overall pick Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be. And let's not forget they have a number 1 overall pick over there on their defensive line who got took right before your boy Aiden Hutchinson and Walker, who I think is getting double-digit sacks every year now at this point. So, and we know how rare it is to find those great edge rushers, and I think he is starting to become that a little bit sneakily compared to some. But I like the Jacksonville Jaguars, and with Travis Hunter, if they can just play the 2-man perfectly, and I'm hoping that as young and geeky looking as they are, maybe the analytics are going to tell them the perfect ratio to play him on, which side of the field and how often to rest him so he's not getting overworked and he's available towards the end of the year for big games and things like that. But I'm really high on Jacksonville.
Another one I'm not going to buy into too much.
No.
Another one I can't bring myself to do it. There are players I like. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is one of the best receivers already in the game. And Trevor Lawrence has to show something. Whoever the coaching staff is, sure that Liam Cohen, we know what he can do offensively. We saw it with Tampa Bay. But Trevor Lawrence, it's like he just kind of year in and year out just kind of coasts on doing whatever it is he does on a mediocre team. And is he going to elevate? He's got talent around him to do so. Having a true number 1 receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. And then, I mean, there's other help on that team. Their running back room is, I think, talent-wise, as deep as anybody, just about with young talent. With young talent, I think they go 5 deep down to LaQuint Allen, who's a 20-year-old rookie who they're already trying to get on the field. They're trying to get 5 running backs on the field. They've got really good ones. And Brenton Strange is a name you'll I don't know, maybe you won't hear it. But fantasy-wise, we try to incorporate some fantasy stuff. You and I are in a deep league where we have to know who everybody is.
This is the best fantasy football general manager I've ever met.
Hey, you've got to know who everybody is. Brenton Strange will be the true number 1 tight end for Jacksonville, second-year guy. He's young, but they have enough talent that, I mean, look, the coaching staff has to prove something early enough. You're walking into a building with talent and a true, what everybody assumes is a number 1 quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. Is he good? Yeah, but does he elevate anybody? I mean, that's the question. We keep asking more of him.
I feel like it, and the reason I picked, Jacksonville to win this division is it's either going to be one or the other. Either I'm right and Jacksonville looks really good and they make the playoffs, or they're at least flirting with it, or, they win 10 games, whatever. Or it becomes, okay, Trevor Lawrence just is not the quarterback. Because
what's it going to take for us to get there, though?
I think after this year, we'll know. If you got it, but they just took with the number 2 overall pick, they traded all these picks away to get you a receiving option with Brian Thomas. Your receiving core looks good. Your running backs look good. Your offensive line isn't horrible, I don't think. So now you just have to produce, and we'll see if he does, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
I can't bring myself to buy in on Travis Hunter yet. I don't have it in me yet to say I believe that it's going to work. And I don't know what it means when I say that. Yeah. I really don't believe in him defensively. I think he is going to struggle defensively. That's my biggest concern. The athlete he is, can you scheme him into an offense to where he can be effective? I do believe we'll see that first. It's going to take time if he's going to be this 2-way player, which it's going to be really hard to get me to believe you're going to have this generational 2-way player. He's going to find a spot in one spot, and he's going to have to rely on that because it's not going to last. Maybe I'm no fun, but I'm not seeing it.
I believe. All right, one more team over here in the AFC South. The Houston Texans favored highest win total in the division at 9.5. CJ Stroud, you got Nico Collins, no Stephon Diggs, no Tank Dell really anymore, unfortunately, but you got Jaden Higgins. You got the other guy from Iowa State whose name is slipping me right now in the moment. They just signed Nick Chubb. Joe Mixon's out there a bit banged up, though. Will Anderson Jr. They just got Danielle Hunter from the Vikings. I like Houston. I think Houston's really good, but I'm just so high on Jacksonville and their offense that maybe as I'm speaking, I'm kind of regretful. Like, why was my take that Jacksonville's going to win this while I'm here talking about Houston? But I don't know. I think CJ Stroud's sophomore slump last year just kind of threw me off a little bit. I have to be honest. How are you feeling about Houston, man?
Good. Very good. It's absurd you would pick Jacksonville over them in this division. I'll just, we'll breathe.
I've been a Trevor Lawrence believer, and like this is me going double or nothing on my final hand.
Yeah, have at it. I mean, what's he done to make you keep doing this? I don't know, but I think this team, Houston, Jalen Noel is that other Iowa State rookie who.
Okay, yeah.
Both of them, Christian Kirk. They've got veterans who are probably going to be on the field to begin with, but you've got major talent that you've just drafted that we will see during the season. But I think this team is so well coached. I think they're going to kill you defensively. I think they're going to be a top 5 defense in the league. I think that's what they're going to lean on. And I do think C.J. Stroud bounces back. Really hope we get a full season of Nico Collins. He can be a top 5 receiver in the game.
Yeah.
Their running back situation, you look out now for a Nick Chubb, somewhat of a resurgence. Nick Chubb being serviceable as a starting running back in the league. Because I think Mixon, we've got to wait for him to get healthy. But Nick Chubb, do not ever doubt him to come back from something. I don't care what his age is today. It's not too much to ask of Nick Chubb. Don't doubt him. We've seen it over and over again. He's going to come in and be serviceable with rookie running back Woody Marks, who's already looked really good. Kind of a really good compliment to what Nick Chubb can offer you as the solid, maybe somewhat of a workhorse. But Woody Marks is going to be somebody, a name we know pretty soon. Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, they'll be on the field. They're good, but I think you're going to see their defense just smother people, and that's what I think makes this team easily run away with the division. Or they're not worried about Jacksonville at all.
Yeah, okay, I hear you. All right, we'll see. We shall see. I think Liam Cohen, they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
You think Liam Cohen what, man? Come on.
Liam Cohen, man, he was supposed to be the highest paid coordinator in NFL history, and then he said, nah, I'm going to be a head coach.
Yeah, okay, we'll see.
All right, let's talk about all right, so that's the AFC South. Let's go to the AFC East. Let's go ahead and start it off talking about the New York Jets. New quarterback over there, Justin Fields. New head coach, Aaron Glenn, your old defensive coordinator. If you didn't know, Root is a Lions fan. And you got Breece Hall, who I'm burned by, and I will never, ever root for again based off last year in fantasy football. But for the Jets, this is just the weirdest team ever to me. I can see either how they can maybe win 6 games or how it completely explodes and they win like 1 game and just look horrifically ugly. And maybe everything that happened with Aaron Rodgers and Robert Saleh, maybe there was just no way of kind of fixing those players. And maybe you just need to completely mix it up because it's pretty much the same roster, just no Devontae Adams, no Aaron Rodgers. It's like, hey, let's forget that we ever had those people come over here and let's just start fresh. But their win total is at 5.5. I would take the under. I don't know. I just don't know if Aaron Glenn and the Jets is going to work out.
The biggest thing I will doubt is Justin Fields. I think that there's talent around him. Okay, he's got an absolute workhorse receiver that can get 10 targets a game, and Garrett Wilson. But you need Breece Hall to stay healthy. A lot of people love Braylon Allen as a young running back behind Breece Hall. They're going to be a disappointment. And Aaron Glenn is going to figure out real quick. Aaron Glenn saw everything that had to do with the Detroit rebuild. He was there from the very beginning. So anything that could happen with the Jets, he's seen it before, if not worse. I don't expect him to get in over his head. I really don't think that'll be the case. I just think he's going to have to figure out how to win with the talent he's got, and the quarterback is going to make him want to rip the small amount of hair he has out. It's going to be tough. We see Fields struggle to complete the easiest of throws. He can't make them. So he's going to have to. But I do think at the same time that this offense can be simplified. they can just lean on athleticism. They can run the hell out of the ball. They can use Fields as a runner a lot. But you're relying on a few guys to stay healthy. Fields, Wilson, and Hall, they have to be healthy. If not, this team just totally falls apart. I don't think they're worth spending a lot of time talking about. They won't be very good. They might win a few games.
All right. Well, let's go to a team that also might not be very good and may win just a few games. The Miami Dolphins. This feels, I don't know. I feel like this can all explode very quickly. I know their whole secondary is gone. It's all new people. No one really returning there. Tyreek Hill did not his worst year ever as a pro last year, and all the off the field stuff. Jalen Waddle, I thought he was about to be, a top 10 wide receiver. He hasn't lived up to the hype. I'm scared of Achane and, his size and him getting hurt. And with Tua, I think he's okay. I think I'm higher on Tua than most. I know some people think he's one of the worst quarterbacks and the Dolphins need to get someone new. I think Tua's fine. I just don't know if McDaniel's the guy. McDaniel may be an OC. Maybe they need more of a rah-rah head coach up in the locker room or something. I don't know, but I think this is the year where maybe this iteration of the Dolphins that we've known for about the past 3 years now, especially since Tyreek Hill has gotten there, this might be where it kind of conversations really start to be had where, all right, do we completely blow it up? Or can we rebuild around Tua since we have Tua locked up on contract and figure everything else out? I don't know, but I'm very low on Miami, and I think I could see Tyreek Hill pulling like a midseason retirement. You know what I'm saying? In all the preseason interviews, he's saying, Tua's like, hey, we're trying to build back our trust. It's like, no, I don't want to hear that. That's not a good sign, going into the season. So I'm very low on Miami.
Me too. And you're right. I don't think it's the fault of Tua. I think he's fine when healthy. I like him, but the health is a huge concern. The brain function is a huge concern. We can't keep happening to him. I mean, I don't know, man, but the goofy shit from the head coach, it doesn't work when you're not very good. It can be flashy and new when you walk into a talented team and you take it and it works slightly for the beginning. But man, you cannot act the way he does and have a bad football team. It'll immediately fall apart. And your best player being Tyreek Hill, how far removed from Antonio Brown is he as a person, man? We don't know what we're going to get out of him. And I'm worried about him playing a full year, health-wise or anything. But if you have to look for any positivity, it's maybe some of these younger guys that can step up. I think you're going to see some take a big role pretty soon, most notably Ollie Gordon, rookie running back, maybe Jalen Wright, second-year guy out of Tennessee, just because also the health of Achane. You mentioned that. Achane, the usage of him too, it's the playoff game last year. He didn't touch the ball hardly at all. It's like Mike McDaniels will go away from him. But Malik Washington, another young receiver, rookie last year. But I mean, look, what am I doing? Why am I saying this? Why am I pointing out Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon? It's because we don't believe in what they have. We don't believe in their front line. I don't. I don't think they're going to be a good team at all. I think they've got a weird sprinkling of veterans in there, bringing in a Matthew Judon. I mean, it's just an example of kind of how they've let this team get to this point with a sprinkling of veterans. And I don't think it's put together very well. I have major concerns I don't think they're going to be that good. I think, and then major questions of, is Mike McDaniels a head coach? I mean, who is this guy? If he has a bad team, we're all going to say, who is this guy? What is he doing?
Yeah, that's right. All right, let's go to the a team that is normally at the
the Dolphins. The Dolphins incited something in me, man. I don't know where.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, let's talk about a team that's normally at the bottom of this division, at least the past few seasons, and maybe not this year. At least I don't think so this year. The New England Patriots, whose win total per Vegas 8.5, which I thought was kind of high actually, because I thought maybe I was uncharacteristically high on them, but I guess everyone else is sipping all the same Kool-Aid I am, I think Mike Vrabel is great. I think he immediately is just going to have everyone locked in. I don't think the Patriots defense ever got bad. The Patriots defense is always pretty solid. I love Drake May. I love Travion Henderson. Love Travion Henderson. I'm going to ride him to my dynasty championship for the next 7 seasons, I think. But I think Stephon Diggs, in a weird way, I think he can help out a little bit. Just having a guy who can, on a one-on-one, get open and catch a 7-yard slant on a 3rd down, right, if he needs to. I don't think New England has had a guy like that in a while. I don't know, man. I just think it's going to be a really well-coached team. I would maybe even compare them to the Denver Broncos of last year and kind of how we felt about them and how they played. But no, I like New England.
I do a lot. I think this is going to be a huge turnaround from what they accomplished last year. 4 wins last year. They're going to double that, and I like the over. I think this team, it's going to be a brand new team. They've been really smart with who they've brought in, veteran-wise, who they've added to this team. Harold Landry, Robert Spillane. They've brought in help on the offensive line too. That I think that they're going to double that win total from last year and immediately just be back. And Drake May just needs to do his thing, keep getting better. But we've seen flashes of him that are just elite. That what he can be if he puts it all together and does it consistently. But he can take it easy. He can learn on the fly with the team he's got around him. They have added to that team in such a smart way. Milton Williams, Carlton Davis, Stephon Diggs, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane on the offensive line, Morgan Moses, Garrett Bradbury. We all know who these players are. These are studs that they brought in, veterans that are going to start immediately. And I think they're well within the hunt of the playoffs and immediately just back on the map. And it's going to be in large part to who they got as their head coach. Why that man had to be unemployed, I think it's going to make a lot of people look pretty silly with what the Patriots look like this year.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. Highest win total here in the division at 11.5. I think the Bills are going to win this division, right? I don't think I'm saying anything crazy there. Would you agree with me on that, Root?
Yeah, we're good.
But I do think there are a few questions with the Bills. Not many, because I had questions with the Bills last year. I was fading the Bills last year. I didn't think the receiving core was that great, and I thought they lost a lot of key defensive players. And that was all true, but the Bills still looked awesome. And then this year, they didn't really address their receiving core. They were just like, hey, it was fine enough. Let's make it work. Again, I feel. But I think at this point, I've just bought into the greatness of Josh Allen and just how he works with his team. I love James Cook. He just got his contract. I'm very excited about that. I think James Cook is one of the best running backs in the NFL. And for some reason, we just don't talk about him like that. I think a lot of times he gets roped into that Kyron Williams category. I think James Cook is a lot better than Kyron Williams, but in my own opinion. But I like the Bills. I think they're going to win this division. I really don't know much more I can say. I think maybe Keon Coleman takes a step up.
I do too. I think they've got a pretty favorable schedule as well. I think they're going to be the Bills again. And Josh Allen, I mean, you've said it. I mean, they're going to run the ball. They're going to lean on everybody. I also love James Cook. I also love Keon Coleman. We're going to see a jump out of him. So they are who they are. I mean, they've earned the right to, I mean, what else can we say about them? They're going to be right there battling for the top seed in the conference. Do they get it? We'll see. But they're another one of these teams, though. You put them there with Baltimore, kind of in a similar boat. That it's got to be the Super Bowl. I mean, there's a few teams that this is their goal. That's it. There's everything else is failure.
Right. All right. Well, let's get to our last division, and then we'll get to our playoff prediction, and we'll probably zoom through that because we've kind of given all our explanations on the team. So we'll kind of just pick and see how we kind of are feeling. But the AFC West, this may be the best division in the AFC. Let's start it off. Let's talk about the Denver Broncos. Made the playoffs last year, kind of surprisingly. They just re-signed Courtland Sutton. Big contract for an old guy, and that maybe was what has messed Terry McLaurin up. I don't know. But you get R.J. Harvey out the draft. You sign J.K. Dobbins. Bo Nix looked good. Bo Nix looked good. Sean Payton, he's a good coach. What can I say? And their defense is really solid. I think they're going to be really good this year, but I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think I think they're going to progress and continue growing, but I don't necessarily think that's going to show in their win-loss record.
It will. It will. This is going to be
okay.
a very good team. And Cortland Sutton, not too old yet. That man has still got it. He is the perfect veteran receiver for young Bo Nix. I will just say, Bo Nix, man, me doing radio in the state of Alabama when he was a freshman at Auburn, the things people said about that man was rough. And maybe I got roped into saying some things that who knows, man, but it was rough. People were critical of him when he was a freshman at Auburn. And the fact that he is a starting quarterback on a good team in the NFL, nobody, you can't get anybody to admit they would have said that when he was a freshman at Auburn. It's just, I'll say that. But this team is well-rounded. This team is going to be a playoff team, and they won't just eke into the playoffs, I don't think. I think this team defensively, they've got some of the best players in the league on their defense. Pat Surtain, Nick Bonito off the edge. I mean, they've got guys that are some of the best in the league. I'm a huge believer. I think this year of Bo Nix is he's got the kind of players around him too. Another situation like Drake May, you're on a good team. You're on a well-coached team. You're on a veteran-led team as well, to where you don't have to be a hero, but Bo Nix can be if they need him to be. I mean, the things that he pulled off last year were incredible. I think the addition of guys like Dre Greenlaw on defense from the 49ers and Evan Ingram, if you need a tight end in fantasy football, get Evan Ingram. I think that he has got J.K. Dobbins, if he can stay healthy, is the perfect thing to help this team develop R.J. Harvey, the rookie that people like a lot. But a healthy J.K. Dobbins will show who he was, man. He has dealt with more injuries than a lot of running backs. And when he's on the field, he's special. And even at, maybe 26, 27 he is now after a bunch of injuries, I still think he is the perfect piece that they can lean on heavily. And just hopefully he stays healthy. But I'm a huge fan of this defense as well. I think that they're looking good. I'm excited to see Denver.
All right, let's go to our next team in the AFC West. How about the Las Vegas Raiders? Tom Brady, he's now a member of the Raiders. We're always rocking Raiders gear. It's a bit odd, but Tampa Bay was on. I guess we got used to it. But you got Ashton Ginty now, the new running back. Brock Bowers is out there. Geno Smith, new quarterback. Pete Carroll, they let him out of the janitor's closet over there in Seattle. Chip Kelly leaving UCLA to come join him in Vegas. Max Crosby, he's still there as well. I think the Raiders are going to show flashes, but I think this division is just too good. They're not going to make the playoffs or anything. But I think we're going to be all bought into Ginty, all bought into continuing to buy into Bowers. And I think that Pete Carroll's going to show that he's still got the juice. And I think maybe the Raiders win 7-8 games, but I think it'll be a fun ride. But I don't think it's playoffs just yet. But if it were to happen, I wouldn't be that surprised.
They've got a tough schedule. I mean, they start the season out of their division. I mean, with the Patriots, with the Commanders, they've got a tough schedule. But it's going to be hard for them to win a division game. I mean, it's going to be very hard for them to win a division game. But that does not mean they're not going to be entertaining. I think Pete Carroll, you watch him at practice, you watch him talk, that man still got it. I mean, he acts like he's 35. But I love some of the talent on this team. We'll see about Ginty. Obviously, that's the probably what you want to be a focal point of your offense, is leaning on this highly drafted running back. The average yardage, the yards per carry in the preseason, not so hot. We'll see if that means anything or not. We'll see if that means anything or not. But there's a lot of talent. I think that Geno Smith is a really good quarterback. He brings you something that Aiden O'Connell couldn't. You know what I mean? This is a solid guy that has weapons to throw to. Jacoby Myers is a wide receiver one in this league. I mean, he's really good. But then adding talent around him, Trey Tucker, Dante Thornton, a rookie to keep your eye on. The guy I like a lot. There's only been
Okay.
three guys ever to be 6'5" and run. What was it? I think under a 4.3. That would be Randy Moss, Calvin Johnson, and Dante Thornton. He's already getting reps. He's starting in the preseason with the starters, getting first team reps. And again, you and I are going to talk a lot coming from this angle of having a fantasy team in a deep ass dynasty league. So
Yeah.
I that's why I love Dante Thornton. I think he's going to be an impact player eventually, but they're exciting. I mean, defense is always a question with the Raiders. It's been kind of brutal over the past few years, but they've tried to make some additions there. I think they're going to give up a lot of points, but they're going to score a lot of points. They're going to be fun, and we get Pete Carroll on the sidelines.
That's right. All right, let's talk about the Chargers over there with Jim Harbaugh. Win total there at 9.5. They just lost their right tackle, their left tackle for the entire year, off a torn ACL. They got Omarion Hampton, who they took in the first round. They also have Najee Harris, who probably will have regained his sight by the time the NFL season gets here, I think. But Keenan Allen's back. You got Ladd McConkey. The defense is solid. The offensive line is solid. They looked solid last year. The Harbaughs just do not coach bad teams. They coach good teams. Justin Herbert is a top 10 talent at quarterback. And I don't think that it's that he's really making any boneheaded plays or anything. I just think for some reason, I think he just gets a bad draw of the cards a lot of the times. I think this year the Chargers are going to keep growing from what they did last year, and I think that the Chargers are going to win this division.
Oh, come on. I don't think that. I think they're the Chargers. They're going to be as good as the Chargers are, and it's just tough for them. They're going to be in the best division in football. They're not going to win this division. We'll see what Najee Harris looks like when he gets there. But I think whatever that is, the focus needs to be Omarion Hampton. This man is special. You want to get him on the field heavily from the very beginning. The rookie wide receivers, Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith, they've been playing a lot in the preseason, looking pretty good. And Keenan Allen, another guy. We've talked about DeAndre Hopkins. We've talked about
Trey Harris too.
Right. Yep. So
second round pick.
Right. Yep. Quentin Johnston is the guy. I don't know how he's still employed by this football team. All we see is him dropping everything thrown at him, but he is still a receiver for this team. But I mean, look, they've got talent. I just think they're going to succumb to the best division in football and not live up. I do believe in Harbaugh, though. I mean, I do believe he is the perfect coach for this team. I really do. I just think that I really don't have terrible things to say about this team. I just happen to like Denver more than them.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the last team in the division, the Kansas City Chiefs. They just were in the Super Bowl. Their win total is the highest in the division at 11.5. I'm fading the Chiefs, though. I think Rashee Rice is going to look good. I think Pacheco will look fine. Xavier Worthy, he's so hit and miss to me. If we're talking fantasy, he's such a 20 points one week, 2 points the next. Travis Kelce, I think he's lost his step. This is going to be his final year. You're coming off the hangover that is losing a Super Bowl in the blowout fashion that it was. I think the Chiefs are, I mean, last year I didn't think they looked good. And then, they won 15 games? I think this year it'll be about the same feeling, but I think this year they probably win like 10. And I think maybe we start to ask questions, what happens after Kelce? And I think if Rashee Rice wasn't probably going to get suspended, which is what I'm predicting, maybe it'd be a bit different. But I don't know. If they're going to be relying on Kareem Hunt, I don't know. The defense will be fine, but the offense I didn't think was that good last year, and I think it might even just take a step back again, but still be good enough to make the playoffs. But not.
I agree with you, but they're going to require more help yet again to make the playoffs, which they'll get, and they will make the playoffs. I'm sorry. It's kind of hard not to believe every damn conspiracy theory we hear about the Chiefs when you watch their games. It is brutal to watch a Chiefs game. I don't care. I hate it. That is a different you're watching a different game when the Chiefs are playing. You just are. And it is tiresome. And we're sick of it. But the players they have, we'll talk just about that. Rashee Rice, he will be suspended. Why it isn't to start the season, ask about that too, because that's crazy to me. But
yeah,
it's just players that you're having to rely on. Pacheco, can he stay healthy? The man runs more violently than anybody in the league, maybe, but that takes a toll on his health. And Mahomes, he seems to, whether it's tweaking an ankle here or there, there's health concerns with the star offensive players on this team, and I'm with you. I'm kind of right with you. I'm fading them as well. I think the fall off hopefully is coming soon. I think most people might want that, but I just think you have to be realistic about it and what they've looked like. I mean, has the offensive line been great? I don't think so. And
they lost a lot of their offensive linemen. I think one to Chicago in the trade, right? Didn't they trade one of their linemen over to Chicago? So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are still going to be fine because of the Chiefs, because it's Andy Reid, because it's Mahomes, but it's not going to be. It has been the Chiefs of old for a minute, but I think it's really not going to be this year. But all right, well, look, that's our breakdown of every team in the AFC. Root, are you ready to give our AFC playoff bracket predictions? I guess it'll probably be easier just to go through your entire seeding and your entire first rounds of matchups. I'll go ahead and kick it off. So for my bye in the AFC, I got the Ravens getting a bye. Like I said, I think they're going to show they are the best team in the entire NFL, and I think it might even be by a decently wide margin. Then for my 4-5, I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars winning their division, playing the highest seeded wild card team in the Cincinnati Bengals. That'd be your 4-5 matchup. Then I got the Chargers winning their division, so they're the 3 seed, and I have them playing the other wild card team, the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're going to get a little division matchup there in the first round of the playoffs. And then for my 2-7, I got the Bills there with the 2 seed, and I have them taking on the Steelers as the 7 seed. 3 teams out of the AFC North going to be in the playoffs this year. What do you think about that?
Pretty crazy how much we can disagree on just a few things. Let's see. All right. We agree on the Ravens. How can you not? And you have to feel that way about the Ravens. I think they are loaded. They're going to cruise. For my 2-7, my number 2 is the Buffalo Bills, and they will be taking on the Patriots of New England. Okay. And that's where I like New England. I like them to truly take this step and be very well-rounded, well-coached, make the playoffs, and give the Bills a little something maybe. Who knows? My 3-6, no, my 4-5. Let's do that one, correct? My 4-5, winning the division, will be the Houston Texans, the rightful winner of that division. Okay. And they will play the best wild card team, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
The 3-6 will also somehow be a divisional game, but not what you had. It will be the division winner, Denver Broncos, taking on the Chargers of Los Angeles.
All right.
All right.
I like that. I
do too. I feel good about it.
Okay.
I don't feel good about yours.
All right. Fair enough. All right. So then in the next round, I have the Bengals defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars. And, it reseeds in the second round. I hope you took that into account with your bracket, the reseeding of the NFL seeds. So I have the Bengals winning. I got the Chiefs upsetting the Chargers. The Chiefs go into LA, beat the Chargers. I got the Bills beating the Steelers at home. So then the second round, I've got the 1 seed Ravens versus the 6 seed Chiefs. What a divisional round matchup that would be. And the 5 seed Bengals versus the 2 seed Bills. How fun is that? What do you have there leading into your second round?
Well, if you noticed, I'd never said the word Cincinnati about these playoffs. So
so you're fading them completely. You're out.
They didn't make the cut, man.
I'm believing. I'm thinking he's special. Joe Burrow is special.
I know he is. I love him to death. But I pray for his safety with that offensive line. It's just non-existent. But I have the Houston Texans beating the Kansas City Chiefs in the first
Wow.
round of the playoffs, moving on to play the number 1 seed Ravens. Also, that would be Denver beating the Chargers, divisional game, divisional rival Chargers, to play the Buffalo Bills. And then in the AFC Championship game, Bills-Ravens, and the Ravens win that to go to their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That they will lose.
And so then, and then I have Ravens beating the Chiefs finally. I got the Bengals upsetting the Buffalo Bills. And then I got Ravens-Bengals in the AFC Championship. And then finally, Lamar Jackson goes to the Super Bowl. Baltimore, is this their year in the AFC? We seem to think so. So
I do too, man. It's one of the most loaded teams I think we've ever seen. And it's just all the talk about Lamar and getting it done. I mean, man, he has never, maybe nobody has had a team quite as stacked as this one could be. And I just think you and I both, and a lot of people feel this way about the Chiefs. And I said some harsh words about how I feel they are treated as a team in this league. And I think that's real. So many people feel that way. You can't watch their games and not feel some of the things I said. I don't think it's insane of me to say it. Might sound a little bit, but I do believe something. It's just a different feeling you get when watching the Chiefs games. It's brutal. But, yeah, just whatever it is with the Bengals, I can't buy in. I have questions on defense, and I can't believe in that offensive line. They don't prioritize their players enough as an organization. I think they're a poorly ran organization.
That's true, but I think as a team, I think they're going to be okay. I think Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, I think they might be just enough to be able to defeat their own organization and every team they play on Sunday.
You know, I hope so for them. But my picks were more so less about Cincinnati and far more so about what I think Denver will be and a resurgence from the New England Patriots, who just welcome back to being great. I think it's coming soon for the Patriots.
Well, Root, man, I'm excited about this season. We just did our deep dive, our preview into the AFC. I think I hear my baby crying.
It's time to go, buddy.
But, well, look, man, hey, I'm excited. Next week, we're going to preview the NFC every Sunday night, and then we'll be breaking down the games when, week 1 does eventually kick off. But, Root, man, I'm excited for this season, bro. I appreciate you hanging with me, man.
I'm glad to do it. I'll be here with you all season. We can rewind. I'm excited for this, man. We're going to have some fun.
All right, man. Looking forward to it. Hey, guys, until the next episode, which is going to be coming out next Sunday, follow us everywhere you get your podcasts and go on YouTube as well. We break all this long form content into short, more digestible content. So be sure to like, subscribe over there. But Root, I appreciate it, man. I'll holler at you next week.
We'll see you, buddy.